Hey kitschy cats and kittens, it's Froggy Friday. Hello everybody, welcome back to Froggy Friday. Today's frog is cosmic. I didn't actually intend to do a cosmic frog, but I had leftover clear resin with some Hypershift in it that I needed to find a home for. And my frog mold was right nearby, so here comes the cosmic frog. I went ahead and placed the eyes in with the UV resin as usual, and I only poured a little bit of the resin in the bottom, which ends up being the frog's back. And I'm using glow-in-the-dark 4-pointed stars, which, by the way, I cannot find anywhere. So the link I have in the description is actually for regular stars, but they are glow-in-the-dark. I'm also using the black holographic 4-point stars and some of the resin bubbles. Since the resin had been sitting and had gotten a bit thick, I thought the resin bubbles would sort of float in it. It did not work out that way. They sank right to the bottom, as you'll see, but it's okay. The fact that I had the Hypershift in there sort of made everything look kind of cosmic and cool anyhow. You'll recognize these square molds from my latest Beebeecraft unboxing video, which I will link above. I wanted to test out how best to make the galaxy spirals, so I thought about doing UV resin and mica powder. I put a little bit of UV resin in the bigger squares in each of these molds, and then I'm using some mica powder in the same UV resin. It does end up working. I don't end up using this though. I go with a different plan, but good to know for future reference that this is an option. And yes, I stirred the crap out of it. So I start off with a good dot of the mica powder resin, and then I sort of drag it outward from there. I don't get to do a whole lot since these are fairly small squares, but you get the idea, and it gave me a lot of cool ideas for the future. Even though I don't use this technique, I left it in because I thought maybe you could learn a little bit from it and get some ideas of your own. That looks pretty cool. And it does have sort of a 3D effect to it. I decided to go with UV nail polish. I have a whole set of these that are iridescent. They call them a pearl set. These are linked below, of course. And then I have 2 nail polishes that came in one of the very first UV nail polish sets I got. And it's a brand called Lavender Violets. I'm using the nail polish to make planets and some comets and the galaxy swirl. And so you can see I just put a decent drop on there depending on what size I want it to be. And I use my micro brush and just sort of drag out from there. And this is another set of UV polishes I have. These are actually cat eye polishes that you use a magnet with. I tried to do that, but it didn't really work. So I just left it as is, and that is a set from Born Pretty. That's linked below, of course. I've already made the comets and I've made the planets, so now I'm on to making the galaxy spirals. I messed around with this quite a bit, but I do think it turned out really cool in the end. I'm essentially just painting all of this on top of the cured resin. Now this is some glow powder from Designer Epoxy, the same company that made the Hypershift in the leftover resin I used. And I'm just making some decently sized dots out of this. I of course want it to glow in the dark, so I want to make sure you can see them. Around in a few colors just to give sort of a stardust look. I really like this technique. I think it turns out really cool. Okay, and all of that is set, and I'm now pouring my next layer of resin. This is just a clear layer. I want to put some space in between the Hypershift layer and the black layer. I am so sorry for the lighting in this. I don't really understand what's going on with my camera or with my editing program. Some stuff looks fine, some stuff is really dark, and if I try to fix the dark, it ends up looking pink. So I have to leave it as is for now. That's all cured, and that was just regular setting epoxy with black resin dye, opaque resin dye. And here I have some chameleon powder in the color violet from Let's Resin. I decided I wanted to do some chameleon powder toes. I didn't fill the frog all the way up with the black. One, because I wanted to do the toes, and two, because it was also left over from another project. I had intended to use black anyhow. It was starting to get really warm, so I needed to pour it in a hurry. For our final layer of resin, I have this box of Let's Resin opaque pigment pastes, and I thought this would be a great time to try it. So it says to get it out with a toothpick, but it has that little cover on it where you're supposed to squeeze out. So I thought, well, I'm gonna try and see if I can squeeze it out, and it worked. However, this is not highly pigmented in any way, and I wouldn't even really call it opaque. I think given the amount you would have to use, I don't think it's really gonna work out. I haven't tried the other colors yet, so I'll give those a try and let you know. But I went back to my trusty resin die, and it is stuck all over the end of my mixing stick. So I'm trying to get it off of there. I don't want unmixed pigment paste in my pour, then it won't cure. Ask me how I know that. That was a mistake I won't make again. So I pour a little, and then I pour a little more, and I eventually end up having to pour several times over the feet and the toes. They're really small spaces, so it's really hard to get the resin to go in there. I do use the dotting tool to help kind of guide it, but yeah, I just had to sort of pour as slowly as I could and cross my fingers. I did okay. All right, and here I am unmolding. I definitely did this a little early. I got impatient. I probably should have waited, but I was really excited to see what it looked like. Now, hindsight is a beautiful thing. The first layer really should not have been Hypershift. You can't really see through it. Check out that glow.
Wow, man.
Froggy kiss. I still think it came out really cool. Look, they're friends. I think this Cosmic Frogger turned out awesome, and I hope you like it too. Have a cosmic weekend. Thanks for hopping by. I'll see you soon.